Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on October the 7th, 2021. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your trading. Before we go to the charts, let's take a quick look at our calendar here. So in terms of the what's going on in the markets today, we saw in the US there was a bit of an agreement between, or they're working on an agreement between Democrats and Republicans. And as a result of that, the whole debt ceiling issue has now been pushed off to till later in the year. And for now, everything is back to, everything is normal, so that there's no immediate crisis. The immediate crisis has been averted. This is why we saw market turn around. So stock market dropped quite a bit, and then it has turned around, and that's why that's the volatility we saw today. Other than that, coming up on Thursday here, we do have monetary policy meeting counts here for ECB. And with this one, what we're looking at is any kind of forward guidance that may have been provided or what they talked about. Any sort of concerns about the economic recovery will be concerning. But if they talk about raising interest rates or cutting back on the support they're providing the market, that will actually be positive for euro. So we'll keep an eye on that. Other than that, employment claims here for the US. We also have Bank of Canada speaking here. So again, the only important thing we'll have to look out for here will be when they're raising rates. And if they talk about raising rates sooner rather than later, that will be positive for Canadian dollar here. And then we have in the evening, we have Reserve Bank of Australia Financial Stability Review. Again, it would be, again, any kind of concerns about recovery will have a negative impact here as well. So not a ton in terms of major news coming up, just a couple of things. All right, let's go on to our charts here. We'll start off with euro dollar. Euro, we were looking for a drop. We got that. Bias here still remains to the downside, but we do need to watch out here because now prices into areas that we haven't seen in quite some time. So here we could get a pullback into 1.1560 or higher into 1.1580. And from there, if it holds below that level, then we are looking for a continuation to the downside here into 1.1500. So bias here is bearish for euro dollar. Pound here, we did see that drop in pound. Now, with this one here, we could get a pullback into 1.3600 or maybe a little bit higher, and then looking for a continuation to the downside. We may see market repercussions if the stock market starts going up. In that case, we are likely to see US dollar drop and all the dollar crosses may turn around. So keep that in mind. But overall, for now, bias is still bearish. I would say neutral to bearish here. Target is 1.3530 for pound dollar. Aussie dollar, this one looks neutral. It's still stuck in the range. We did see that initial drop here, but then price pulled back. Aussie dollar is closely related to the stock market. If the stock market continues going higher, this one could go higher as well. But currently it is range bound right now. So neutral bias, we may see it stay in the range still. It may go retest the high at 0.7310, but overall looking for neutral. If it does go through 0.7310, then we would look for a continuation to the upside, and it could go all the way into 0.7400. But the first level to watch is 0.7310. So neutral bias for Aussie dollar at the moment. New Zealand dollar here, this one dropped and bias is still bearish. It's trading in a range overall. And in this case, we're looking at a continuation again towards the support 0.6860. So neutral to slightly bearish bias here for New Zealand dollar. Again, both Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar are closely tied into the stock market. They're correlated with the stock market. If stock market shoots up tomorrow because of the interim agreement they have reached, that would be then positive for New Zealand dollar as well. Dollar CAD here, this one we did see price go up, and now we have a big pin bar here. So bias here is bearish, looking for a continuation lower, and 1.2520 is the target back into the support for dollar CAD. Silver here as well, it has moved both ways, still looking neutral. So I'm looking for a range bound here. It's moved in both ways. A lot of volatility in the market, a lot of back and forth this entire week. Everything has been choppy. So looking for price to trade within the range between 22.75 and 22.00. Gold here. Gold has been choppy as well. Price has been stuck in this range here. We do have a nice bounce from the support. So 3 days in a row, price has bounced off of the support, which means we're looking for a move towards the top of the range now, towards 1770. But this may still remain a range bound, so we'll keep an eye on it. Right now, a neutral to bullish bias here, looking for a move towards 1770, but be mindful here. Price may come back into the range again. Oil here, a big drop in oil, which was to be expected after this huge move to the upside here. And bias is bearish now. We may get a deeper pullback towards 75.10. So bearish bias for oil. Copper is neutral. We did see that drop as expected right into the support level, and this is where it may turn around and remain a range bound here. So looking for a range bound move between 4.08 and then potentially back into the middle of the range here. So neutral bias for copper as well. Bitcoin here. Bitcoin has done quite well. We are all the way through that resistance we had talked about yesterday. And now price is into another level of resistance. So be mindful, and price it's been a one directional move. So anytime we have a big one directional move, there's always that selling that happens. So keep that in mind. Overall, though, it could go higher towards 58,000. So that's our next level to watch here. But watch out for that that bounce because of the parabolic rise here. It could drop because of the sellers coming in. But right now, overall bias still remains to the upside. Next target is 58,000. S&P 500, this is where we have seen market go back and forth. It's been stuck in the range here. And as we saw today, price dropped initially, and then it turned around once that agreement was reached, at least the short-term agreement between Democrats and Republicans. And as a result of that, we have a bullish pin bar now. And here we have to be careful. Price is into resistance. If it manages to hold above 43.70, we are essentially going back up again. So in this case, I would say neutral to bullish bias. If it goes through the resistance, I will look for a continuation higher towards 44.50, but it's into a critical level right now. So we'll keep an eye on 43.70 and 4400. So 4400 is really the important level to watch here. If it crosses 4400, we are going higher. So neutral to slightly bullish bias here. Nasdaq also bullish pin bar here. Again, price rejected the support, which means we could see it go higher here. First target is 14,930, so 15,000, but it could go all the way into 15,200. The important level to watch is right around this. So there's a bit of a zone of resistance. If it goes through 14,900 or 15,000 basically, and then this inefficient move will quickly get filled. But right now it's into a bit of resistance where it is currently. And this is where it could turn around, but once it goes, it's going to go. And then Dow Jones as well. This is also, again, into support resistance level right now. And it's not, doesn't have clear direction just yet, but we do see the big rejection from the bottom. Multiple times prices rejected this level, which means it could go higher. So next target here is 34,700. But if it fails to go through the high of the range here, then we could still see that move back in. So neutral to bullish bias here for Dow Jones. Same thing here we saw with DAX, big rejection, big move to the downside, and then a rejection. And similarly here, we have that big drop and then rejection here. So in this case, looking for a move towards 15,200. So something like that. So bias here is neutral to bullish for DAX. FTSE as well, big bullish pin bar here, looking for move towards 70.75. So that is bullish as well. And then Nikkei here, Nikkei did drop. It did finish to the downside. So, but it did have a huge move to the downside and then it pulled back. So there's a big pin here in the bottom. This pin here is where things could turn around. So bias here is neutral. We may see a retest of 27,500. And then if it holds, then we're looking for a move higher. So right now, neutral bias for Nikkei as well. So that's it for today. You guys have a wonderful trading day, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye for now.